And welcome back to the Arizona Cardinals 20-year rebuild. Here today we have year 15, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. As the Arizona Cardinals are coming off a 10-6 record, going back to the postseason, ultimately losing, I believe, in the wild card round. And now we find ourselves still in this interesting situation. It's like a little mini rebuild or adjusting the roster for Will Brittley's contract. And, you know, structurally wise, I do think that we're still in a fairly good spot moving forward. For starters, we have Will Brittley under contract for the next 4 seasons. We drafted in the first round Daryl Laws here, who's already a top running back in this league. And we're going to continue to develop him and rely on him. Receiving wise, we have our number 1 receiver, Mitch Ford, locked up for the next 4 seasons. We still have Bobby Summers under contract. We have a franchise level center, guard as well, and maybe even another guard. We have a couple young offensive linemen that we're working on developing. Defensively, we still have, I would say we probably have the best safety duo in the league. We have a top tier middle linebacker. We still have a top edge. We have a young edge rusher that we're developing. Overall, this team is good. It's just, what can we do to continue to surround Will Brittley with talent? What can we do to finally get over the hump? What I've been doing over the last 2 episodes have been mainly focusing on the draft, not trying to just develop the youth. I think we're now at a point where right now where we probably need to do one more off season like this. You know, I think going into next year, I'm going to have Langford and Stark start across this offensive line. We'll see if we can give Chase Green a contract. And then after that, you know, we'll stick with Laws. This is the big domino that must fall, is Cameron Hayden here. A top tier wide receiver needing a new contract, superstar development, coming off of 1,100 yard, 15 touchdown season. He's a very good receiver, drafted in the late 3rd round. And, you know, we gave Mitch Ford a massive extension. Can we afford to give Cameron the extension? Or do we sit here and say to ourselves, Jake Phillips here, a 23-year-old deep threat with excellent speed, agility, and acceleration, give him the chance to be the 3rd receiver? I don't know just yet what we're going to do with that. Across this defense here, we traded for Deshaun Colbert here. I believe from, who did we traded him from? The Chargers. So had a 6.5 sack season. Very excited about his future. We have a couple, you know, we have Daly here, Thurman, Elijah Fletcher, but Fletcher's 35 now. So we drafted a year ago 3 defensive linemen, which really helps. You know, do we try to make a trade with one of our 2 younger defensive tackles? That's absolutely a possibility. We also have a decision to make here on Jeremy Jones, who had a breakout campaign this year at the age of 28. He can hit, he can run, he can do everything for you. Honestly, he's probably a little less of a version of the coolest Mims, to be perfectly honest with you. Mims is definitely a much better player, but the hit power is what Jones has over him, but he's much more of a complete athlete and complete football player for us. And the other decision is, what do we do at 3rd corner right now? A year ago, we drafted Devon Roundtree in the late rounds, and he comes out as superstar development. I think this does play a factor in it. He has a high development. He's already a 76 overall, playing like a 78 due to the boost. And, you know, he would probably fit in the slot very well for us, as we have Fitzpatrick and Timmons being the shutdown outside guys. So we have a lot of decisions to make. We're trying to get younger. We're trying to improve this team, but we're also trying to continue to win, because winning helps in all sorts of development here. And as you guys can see, we have $67 million to work with, 15 plus players to make contracts on. Cole Timmons and Nicholas McLean here, both needing 5th-year options. And absolutely, we're picking both of them up as they're both very important to our secondary. So yeah. Cameron right now, let's hold off on this. So Jeremy Jones wants a 2 years, $15 million, something that we could afford. Chase Green, he's a very important player, and we have a lot of depth in this back half here. So I'm gonna let Tim, Tim, Rob, Emmanuel, Marco, Leo here, Orlando, even Mick Rush here. They're all gonna test. I think Rashad Kitchens, I'm just gonna offer him this 1-year deal. Fine with that. We're gonna get Orlando Thomas out of here. Trace here, we're gonna go young at tackle this year. I don't want to lose sight on solid depth on the offensive line, so making that move there. For Wade, longevity on this roster, you deserve to stay. He gets a 1-year extension, and that leaves the big 3 here. Chase doesn't want to be here. We tagged him a season ago, and I don't think we can really afford a franchise tag. I do, though, think we could keep all 3 of these players. We have enough capital to do so. I would say maybe the second most important player between these 3 guys is Chase Green, but I want him, and he right now doesn't want to be here. He's declined the offer. It's $24 million. And, you know, if we're going to give this type of contract, which I think Cameron's contract did go down, he wants about $20 million over the next 3 seasons. This is something that's very much doable, I feel. So 24, if we tag Green, that leaves us with about 15, which still could give us a chance to re-sign Jones if we wanted to go in that direction. But Cameron denies us. And we don't even have a chance to... He's just gonna be... No, he accepts us? Did we re-sign Cameron? I don't know. Honestly, I read like maybe the first sentence of that. I think we just re-signed Cameron Hayden here. We did. Okay, great. Confused out of my mind. But re-signed Cameron Hayden here, leaving us with $38 million. And yeah, I think we're gonna give this 2-year contract. I'm happy to sign with a great organization, and I think we're gonna tag Chase Green here. We're gonna run it back with these veterans again, leaving us with $7.8 million. If anything, we're gonna make some type of trades, but that's about it. I doubt that I'm gonna be very much active here in free agency, as I don't even see, I mean, other than my punter that I want to bring back, I don't think that I'm going to be doing anything else here in free agency. So I didn't do anything in free agency. I still have an offer out here for Rob Fisher, our punter, but that's about it. Here are all the players that signed. Nick O'Neal going to the Titans. We see a couple offensive linemen, a big corner going, signing with new teams. Seeing if there's anyone that I recognize personally. Honestly, so far, no one. Maybe a few guys. Yeah, no one from our team, at least. Not that I am seeing. I think Antonio Allen was on our team for, as our fullback, but Seth Bennett here, a mentor quarterback now. He's going to Miami. I think he's our last remaining backup quarterback. He had a good year for India's seat for a season. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't really think I see anyone that I recognize. I mean, we still see, what's his name? Orlando Thomas probably is still out there as a free agent. But let's move on to the draft. Let's try to get some new young talent on the roster. So the current state of the team right now is, we have our top 2 wide receivers. We have, our 4 guys at wide receiver, our tight end. In my opinion, our whole starting offense is here in front of us. We could consider drafting a wide receiver, a tight end, just due to Bobby Summers and Ray Field's age. You could consider guard again as I move Starks to tackle. Andrew Langford is starting. These guys they both were drafted in the same class, and now they're starters. I don't think that I'm going to make any sort of moves. We could look to trade away Cole Green at this moment in time if we felt that we could get a high draft pick for him or something like that. But he is definitely a candidate right now that could be potentially traded. Defensively, we still have Mark Hunt, who we drafted early last year. We have our same front 7. The defense really did not change at all. We could look for depth. Jermaine Weston here, who's now 31 years old, entering the last year of his deal as the best safety. Safety, in my opinion, could be at play. You could argue in corner as well as, we have Fitzpatrick locked up, but, the jury's still out on Cole Timmons, in my opinion. I mean, he's had 2 seasons to play, and he's only picked up one interception each year. So really, how good is he? So I think corners in play. You could say pass rusher, defensive tackle with Waters and Birdley here. I could consider trading one of them right now as, we only have an extra second. But I think here in the first round, I'm going to let the class come to me. Maybe if there's another guy that I like, I will look to trade back into the first round. But we're gonna just get to our pick. Well, I went to check on corner because I thought this was a good corner class, and we see that we have 2 top 5 prospects, which also a second to a third round with Jeff Walton here, who's 6'9", 21 years old. Good enough speed, in my opinion, a good enough athlete. But I see 2 top 5 talents here at corner. One's a 6'4" guy, one is a 6-foot guy. So let's start off here with Tyler Fields. We see a bunch of B's and one A. Solid speed, elite acceleration. C awareness, F injury. I don't know how much that compares here. Michael Dorsett, same thing, but much faster, much of a greater athlete here. Less injury prone. I think Michael Dorsett is the pick here. 21 years old as well. A year younger, 6'4". We have drafted in the first round a lot of corners. We're going to draft another one here in Michael Dorsett. I also don't like to pass up on top 5 talent. Michael Dorsett comes out as the rank 2 player in this class. 95 speed and hidden development to throw on top. Now, do we look to try to double up on corner? As, I might have just thrown some doubt in some of you guys' mind here with Cole Timmons here, but we could go into really the rest of this franchise with potentially 3 very young and very good corners. You throw Roundtree in there, Fields and Dorsett. If we look to trade away Cole Timmons right now, we could potentially have that. Now, it might take the secondary, they might take a step back. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it, and I'm gonna wait until like pick 30. Unless he goes, I'm gonna wait until pick 30. Well, he just went here at 24 in Tyler Fields. I knew I was gonna have to trade away a couple players, and I just didn't think that made a whole lot of sense for us. I like Cole Timmons. I think he's a good player. Now, we could look to trade back up into the first round. There is some safeties here that I do like. But if you flip it over, there's still a couple pass rushers. We could consider offensively. All the tight ends that I like are still available. My top receiver went. could look to draft a running back. I think we're going to let the draft class kind of play out. I know we have capital, but I think just trying to continue to add solid talent makes a lot more sense. I'm going to be taking an offensive lineman here in the second round, with Chase Green going back and forth over the last 2 seasons, having to tag him. Thought Johnson was going to be a good player. He's actually an excellent player. 11th of the class, hidden development, guard, 91 strength to back it up. That's pretty huge here in the second round. Well, I'm going to go back into the secondary, drafting Jeff Walton here. He's just the most intriguing prospect that I really like. 6'5", 21 years old. He's a good enough athlete. Got him right around where he's supposed to be drafted. Hidden develop or normal dev though. Well, I'm staying in the secondary here in the third round. Kylie Manning here. Looks to be an intriguing prospect. A little later than I wanted him to be, but 89 speed. Good enough athlete, maybe a solid backup. I see A, break tackle, B, ball carrier version, and B, carrying. Brandon Meredith here will be the selection here in the 4th. Got him. He's ranked 40th. Hidden development, power back. So back-to-back years, we're going running back, and we might have found 2 young prospects that are very good. Here in the 5th, we're gonna go with Jonathan Horn here, a 6'1" playmaking archetype receiver. 99th in the class, 90 speed, solid athlete. I do think it makes sense for us to draft a couple of receivers here in the late round. Well, I'm gonna draft another 6'6" receiver, Deshaun Bryant here. I'm gonna go back-to-back receivers. We have a little bit of a story. Ranked 107 here is Bryant. Hidden development, 91 speed, 98 agility. Fun to draft these type of players. And then I'm gonna shoot a dart here in Alexander Johnson here. I only had receivers left on my board. I'm not drafting 3 receivers. Johnson, not the best selection. That's okay. And here is your draft, ladies and gentlemen. And this is back-to-back classes that I think we had really good classes. We start off here with Michael Dorsett, who's a 79 overall, 6'4" corner. Could do a little bit of everything for you. Then we flipped it to the second round, and I decided to take a 76 overall guard here, Dante Johnson here. Very good ratings to start off with. He'll develop for a season, but he might have to start next year. I went here in the third round, Jeff Walton here, a 6'9" corner, can play very good man and press from day one. Just an interesting prospect. As don't forget that, guys, after this episode, we have 5 more. Clay Manning here. Solid safety to start off with, really. I think Manning could potentially become a future starter. Brandon Meredith here, a hidden dev power back that we got late. Hey, we just found our trio at runner for the next couple of seasons. And then we go wide receiver Jonathan Horn, a normal dev receiver, and day 1 ratings are good. We can take him in any direction that we want him to. And then going another receiver into Deshaun Bryant here, a 6'6" corner. And, you know, he is just a shifty, big body, 699 juke to throw on top. He's not even 200 pounds. And then I drafted a 61 overall linebacker. He's solid depth, even at a 61. When you look at across the league, let's look at just the highest overall player. I see an 80. Michael Poole, running back, going to the Ravens, as we got the second best player. And Tyler Fields was a 77. There was a better receiver out there. Justin Lynch. Here's George Skies. He was my favorite lineman, but went with my second favorite. Across the board, this looks to be a solid class all around. And here's the roster as we enter now into year 15. Over the last 3 years, the Cardinals have made it to the postseasons. 3 or 4 years, excuse me. Yeah, 4 years. And 2 of those 4 years, we were the number 1 seed. 1 of those years, we were the number 3 seed. And we've made it to, I want to say, 2 NFC championship games at this stretch. This is the current roster. We have a young running back. We have 2 young tackles. We have a new very good duo here with Hayden and Mitch Ford. You still have Will Britley as your quarterback. You have this great interior of this offensive line. And then you throw it over to this defense here. You have a young, tenacious secondary here with a lot of young, good corner prospects, led by Train Weston. You have Jeremy Jones and DeCoulis Mims plugging up the middle of the defense, and a defensive line led by Elijah Fletcher. And somehow, some way, Jeremy Jones earned X Factor. Don't really know why, but he did. So that's cool to see that we have now an X Factor linebacker. I don't think we've ever had that in this franchise. So let's go through the first 4 weeks together, folks. We start off here versus the Cleveland Browns, and we lose by 6. Not what you want to start the season. We need to start hot, as Darren Laws is shaken up after the first week of don't want to see that. Bringers can handle himself, but it is kind of a significant loss. We do bounce back versus the Saints, getting a weekly award winner. And that's for Elijah Fletcher, popping off with 3 sacks, 35 years old, and still playing like a beast. Now we got the Chicago Bears here, as the Bears fall to us. We beat them 26-23. We get to now negotiate, but we're going to sim another week trying to get above 500, or stay above 500, and we do so, beating the Rams 42-35. Another weekly award. This time is for Will Britley, throwing 6 touchdowns. He has done that pretty consistently, I feel like, as Will is second in the league in touchdowns with 1 interception. Fantastic to see. Our running game is off to a slow start, but our passing game with our top 2 wide receivers are making a lot of plays. Wade Rayfield still producing. Bobby Summers helping out. It's nice to see. This offensive line, our tackle, Andrew Longford, drafted as left tackle, played right tackle a year ago, now playing left, has surrendered 6 sacks already. DeCoulis Mims lead us in tackles. Dorsett also has a bunch. Fletcher with 6 sacks. Jeremy Jones with 2. Deshaun Coleman here with 2, the young pass rusher that I traded for. And then a couple interceptions. We see Michael Dorsett gets his first career interception. That's very nice to see, as we have a top 5 offense led by our quarterback. 16 players needing new deals, close to $80 million. Michael Huff, he's up for a new deal. Bobby Summers, Tremaine Weston, D'Amico Berkeley here, Javon Good here, Chase Green again, Eliza Fletcher, Wade Rayfield, Mike Royal. Some quality depth players down the board here. And then we have 2 fifth-year options of 2 defensive ends to consider. So Daniel Huff is probably the first big one that I want to get out of the way. He wants $20 million a season. That is so much money. What if I do a 6-year deal? Try to spread out this money a little bit. Daniel Huff does sign. So we're going to keep the anchors of our offensive line. And after that, we're going to wait until next episode. One player to look out to be traded right now could be DeMarco Berkeley here. So he's not been playing much. We shall see, though. Let's get to week 8. Let's see how good or bad we are. We've made it to week 8. Will Britley just wins another weekly award. And we are currently sitting pretty with a 6-1 record. We have a top tier team. Excellent offense, very good defense. We allow a lot of passing yards, though. Still, we are the #1 seed. The New York Football Giants are, though, right behind us. And we now have our rivals of the Niners. Can we beat them? If we can, that would be great. We go now to 7-1, facing now an injury. And that is to bring him here. That means that our rookie back, Meredith, will have to start. Where are we on in terms of stats and everything? Will Britley just lighting up the league, 23 touchdowns casually. As our running game has been solid. Laws with 4.2 yards per carry. That's nice to see. Our top 2 receivers are producing. Yeah, everyone is playing pretty well for us. The offensive line, Andrew Longford is struggling. But other than that, the line is playing very well. Defensively, we've gotten a good amount of TFLs. We see Fletcher and Colbert each have a good start to this season. 9 sacks, 6 sacks. And then a couple other guys, we see our interior rush playing pretty well as well. So I do think I'm going to make a trade here. We're going to probably move off of the defensive tackle, Bertley here. Hasn't been playing much. He had a good season for us a year ago, but 24 years old, you know, he's been a backup. We drafted him in the late 3rd. If we could get back like a 6th round or a 2nd round pick or something like that, that would be very nice. And a deal has been made here. We're sending Bertley here to the Carolina Panthers for their next year's 2nd round pick. I'm also throwing a 5th year pick next year. So 2 years from now, we'll have an extra pick. But for now, we'll sit pretty here with a 7-1 record. So let's get a little deeper into the regular season. Well, we've made it here to week 17 here. We're sitting pretty at 11-4. Got the Niners and the Eagles to finish out the year. We've yet to lock up the conference. We definitely have locked up, though, our division. So we've definitely won our division. We're a top-tier team this year. We're just playing excellent football. Will Britley, 37 touchdowns, 3 picks. Cole Green has thrown also 2 touchdowns. We see Darren Laws here has scored 3 times. Bingham here has scored once. Meredith has scored 3 times. So okay running game, good enough. Mitch Ford with a 1,100 yard season, with Cameron with 700. Wade Rayfield has had to step up. Bobby Summers has missed some time this year. Rashad Kitchens has been playing pretty well in as a replacement. The offensive line, I mean, every lineman has allowed at least 1 sack, but Andrew has allowed the most. In terms of this defense, we see Jones and Mims, top 2 tacklers. Fletcher with 11 sacks. Colbert with 6. Jeremy Jones with 4. So our sacks from everyone else has gone down, but Fletcher has gone up. We've been able to get a lot of good TFLs. Jermaine Weston with 4 interceptions. Michael Dorsett here with 3. Could win Defensive Rookie of the Year. And see a couple other interceptions. So 2 weeks to go here. Trying to beat out the New York Giants as the #1 seed. Can we do it? Can we beat this Niners team? We do. And still, we've clinched a playoff berth and won the division, officially now. But we have the Eagles trying to go to 8-9. We are trying to win the conference. A victory here, I assume, does it for us. I don't really know in terms of seeding and everything. And what is the outcome? We lost, but so did the Giants, and we did have a game over them, meaning that we're the #1 seed. Very nice to see. We had a top 5 offense and we had a top 10 team across the board. Love to see that. Will Britley throws 42 touchdowns, 4,000 passing yards. Laws ended up the season with 4.0 yards per carry. Nice to see there. That's kind of the line we want to see. Mitch Ford, 1,200 yards, almost 100 catches. Absolutely our #1. Cameron Hayden, he added 915 scores. Wade continues to produce. Love to see that. By the end of the year, we had 2 guys allowing 10 sacks. And then, you know, not too bad here on the right side. DeCoulis Mims did not hit 100 tackles, but 6 TFLs, 2 interceptions, 13 sacks for Eliza Fletcher. Colbert with 7. Nice to see there. Weston ends his season with 4 interceptions. For yearly awards, MVP goes to Chris Lively here. We're back to being the Coach of the Year. And do we have any? And Dorsett does not get it. And this is the other corner that was drafted, I think, after him, I want to say. That is such a tough pill to swallow. Do we have any Cardinals here? Nope. So no yearly awards. We probably have a couple Pro Bowlers, but we are the #1 seed, meaning that we have to win 2 games to get to the Super Bowl. We have the Rams. I know we have at least beaten them once in this season. Can we do it again? Can we beat them? We fucking can't. This is now the 3rd time that we've won the conference, and I think we're 1-2 in this stretch. Losing in overtime, 41-35. Will Brittley threw 5 touchdowns. What can you say? We ran the ball pretty well. Passing, of course, worked out, but our secondary just could not hold up. Offensive line didn't do bad. I mean, you know, we got pressure when necessary. Fletcher didn't record a sack. Jerry Jones went off today. Man, I don't know what else to do. Now, realistically, we're trying to get to a point where we can spend money in free agency. It's just been very difficult to. In terms of Pro Bowlers, not seeing much. Mitch Ford makes it in. That's nice to see. Huff gets in. Wall gets in. So our offensive line, Fletcher gets in as well. And I am not seeing anyone else corner-wise. No. Safety, Weston gets in. Nice to see that at least. Got a few Pro Bowlers. And this year's Super Bowl champs are the Minnesota Vikings, beating the Cleveland Browns 28-24. JJ McCarthy is still their quarterback, and he wins them a ring. I don't know realistically if that means that he retires. In terms of retirements after this season, I'll point out any names that I recognize because we're starting to get to drafted players. So far, I think Derek Clark here was a very good receiver for a while. So far, no one else. We see Josh Haynes. He was one of those top 3 players when we drafted Orlando Thomas. Passed on him. But we see that Thurman has retired after 12 seasons. Been an excellent defensive tackle. I should have, I guess, checked yearly or their career stats. In terms of everyone else, Orlando Thomas, he now retires. He had a very solid career, and he kind of finished it out strong. He never lived up to being the 3rd overall pick. Reggie Powell retires after 10 years, the 5'7" running back I drafted. And then I don't think we'll see anyone else. Maybe we might. Nope, no one else to see. So we end the year with a 12-5 record, 1 and done again in the postseason. And realistically, what do you do now? You know, you have Starks now getting 6 upgrades. We see Langford getting 3 more. So the tackles are getting a lot better. We still have Johnson, who also has 3 upgrades. So it's not like the offensive line needs to be a whole lot more improved. I think the receiving room is very good. And then defensively, I think we have our secondary here. Very solid across the board. I don't know. But, you know, you could argue defensive tackle, absolutely. Another linebacker, sure. Tackle, is Laws really the long-term back? I don't know. And these are our contracts that we have to decide on with $60 or $54 million. Bobby Summers, who is realistically one of the best tight ends in the league, top 5. And do we really want to let him go? I know he's coming off his worst year. He was injured. So, but 4 years in a row with 700 yards receiving. And yes, he's never broken 800 yards, but he's been a consistent playmaker, has scored very consistently. So a 3-year, $34 million. I mean, that is something that is very doable, 11 million a year. But do you really want to pay that when you still have Tremaine Weston? Does not want to be here, but one of the better safeties. Then we have a couple fifth-year options to take care of. Chase Green needs a new deal. We've been tagging him. Elijah Fletcher needs a new contract. Wade we need to consider if we keep Wade or not. And then depth players. So I do think in terms of contract-wise, Tremaine probably is the most important, even though he's regressed pretty significantly. I just think even though he's down 32, he is still a top 10 safety in the league, and he completes the secondary. I think after that, it kind of goes to both Elijah Fletcher and Chase Green. And Bobby Summers, he has to be ranked 4th right now. And it must go Weston. Then I would say probably, yeah, Weston, then Fletcher, then Green, and then Summers. Those are our big 4 contracts to make decisions on. Do we decide to let one of them or 2 of them go? I don't know. Find out next time, guys. Year 15 in the books. I hope you've been enjoying the franchise. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave a comment down below what you thought of today's action. And I'll see you in the next one.